Boom. So, Tim, we had a very interesting Lean Coffee with a bunch of product owners
We did.
this week.
Yep.
And some of the questions were really, really interesting. And we thought that it would be a shame not to share those questions and answers to everyone consuming the content on
Yep.
Stellify, everyone needing any information, knowledge, or coaching. So here's the question. Too many meetings, how to deal with the sudden overload from dailies, refinements, and reviews.
Yeah. I know this is quite a common occurrence, especially if it's a meeting-heavy environment already, and then suddenly Scrum comes along and adds these. Well, first of all, I don't necessarily think Scrum or Agile should be adding meetings. I think it's best to absorb or refactor existing meetings that you had to align to the Scrum framework. So maybe you had a weekly team meeting and that now becomes the retrospective. Maybe you used to have a status meeting and now we're refactoring that as a stand-up. So that was one thought. And the other thought was, if you're a stakeholder and you're being invited to lots and lots of different teams, dailies or sprint reviews, I think you just need to constantly ask, am I adding value here? Am I getting value? Am I receiving value? And am I adding value to the team by being here and feeding back? If you are, great, okay, it's worth your time. If you're not, then I would suggest possibly you becoming optional and experimenting with being an optional attendee on some of those meetings.
Yep, absolutely. I can add a couple of things on top of that. But first, if you like this kind of content, let us know, send us a message or a comment or reach out to whoever shared that video with you so that we know you're watching it, you like it, and you want more of it. And again, if you also have any questions that you want us to answer, don't hesitate to do that. That being said, what I can add to that, it's interesting because the way the question was framed can also mean that this person already has too many meetings.
Yeah.
And so you were in a situation where you already had sort of meeting overload. And my question is, what did you do for that? So maybe agile methodologies can add a little bit of friction in the beginning, but you should apply that advice to everything that you had prior to those agile methodologies. Because maybe you can save a lot of time by sort of refactoring the way you are interacting with those other kind of meetings. Everything that you heard from Tim for those agile ways of working is definitely applicable to any other kind of session. So ask yourself how many hours or minutes I'm spending per week attending other kind of meetings, and is there a way to sort of withdraw myself from those sessions and just see the impact?
Yeah.
And maybe,
Try it.
yeah, maybe you'll save time here, and then this will free up time to do other stuff. You want to rebound to that?
Yeah, I mean, the goal is value, not attendance. It's not like a classroom register where you have to be there to get marked off. The goal, it's all about value. Agile's all about value. So if you think you're overloaded, your time can be more valuable elsewhere, or consuming the information is done in a different way, try it out. See if it works, see if it causes damage. The other thought I had is when we get to the point where we have lots of teams, and we're starting to touch on scaling approaches here, there are ways that we can bring multiple teams together into the same time box of ceremony. So you can have multiple sprint reviews at the same time, and you run it in a science fair format or a speed dating format. So you're not having to go to 10 different sprint reviews. You're going to one cadence where all 10 teams are collaborating and they're learning from each other. So at the point, that we hit that kind of level of scale, we can explore and experiment with some of those creative ways of getting creative, collaborative meetings happening.
Absolutely. And another aspect I want to touch is the measure aspect. I think I see this way too much, but
Yeah.
you cannot improve what you don't measure.
That's right.
So when I hear, oh, I'm spending too much time on meetings, do you actually know how many hours you're spending per week attending those meetings? It's like, is your calendar updated enough so you can have a clear view and see what percentage of your week is actually dedicated to meetings? Or you're just sort of improvising it and then you don't really know how many hours, dedicated hours you have on that. So the first thing I would do is first measure, get a clear, objective view of your calendar, and then, as Tim was saying, then put that data against the value, the outcome, the output of that, and then decide on what you want to do about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that helps. Let us know how you get on. Let us know what you try. We'd love to hear your experience.
Absolutely. See you on the next one. Boom.